Your questions about business, career, personal development, and achieving the American dream are more than welcome. Email them to info@makingitnow.com. Now back to more Making It with Tommy and Todd.
We're back with Tommy and Todd, coast to coast, and we have a special guest with us. Tell our audience, Todd, about our special guest.
We have with us today Emmet Apolinario. He's the CEO of Sunbelt Business Brokers, which is a leading broker of buying and selling businesses, an award-winning entrepreneur, and a frequent speaker to various business events. In 2002, Apolinario was awarded Small Business Leader of the Year by the Small Business Administration. Apolinario led a successful turnaround of a Midwest regional technology service company. He acquired this company through a leveraged buyout. Apolinario has a broad business background that includes service, distribution, and outsourcing industries. He is a monthly contributor to several blog posts that pertain to the confidential sale and purchase of privately held businesses. Memberships that he's involved in include the International Business Brokers Association, International Franchise Association as well. Emmet, welcome to the Making It with Tommy and Todd show.
Thank you.
Todd, one of the things you probably don't know that I know about Emmet is that he's an accomplished pianist. You should hear this guy play the piano.
Thank you.
Well, you want to talk piano today?
Let's talk a little piano because I've got a strategy. I'm going to invite Emmet over for dinner with a group of people.
Yes.
And then while the rest of us sit down and eat, I'm going to ask Emmet to play us a little few
sounds
tunes.
good. Just invite me to that dinner.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
I'll have you there.
Well, I mean,
You don't eat much. That's
buying and selling a business is kind of like, playing the piano. You know? You have to hit all the chords. And,
you have to hit them right. That's true.
be in sync.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, Emmet, let's get down to business here.
Sure.
This is a time where there's a great optimism in the country about business and small business. Is it a good climate to buy businesses now? What are the experts saying?
Wow. I think we're coming up to a perfect storm to actually look into buying a business. You have the baby boomers that are 65 plus, ready to hand over some well-run businesses, profitable. And you have corporate America that now, as with our new upcoming president, the entrepreneurial market, they've seen how success can be had through being an entrepreneur, and they want to get a piece of that entrepreneurial dream out there. And you have these baby boomers retiring and, hey, take over these businesses and buy them.
And what are the elements of a good environment versus a bad environment in buying businesses? Is it about money from the bank? What makes that?
Well, if you heard some of the last couple of weeks' reports, we have money coming in and flowing in. Banks are going to loosen up to allow would-be entrepreneurs to borrow money to buy businesses. Profitable businesses are the ones that banks would want to finance because they will have the cash flow to service the debt and also pay the entrepreneur the money that they've been wanting.
Now, where is the money flowing in from?
Oh, many sources. You got private capital markets out there. The Small Business Administration, I do have to credit our government. We have the 7A SBA product up there, and you can borrow as much as $5 million to buy a business. As an example, this one that I offline that I was mentioning to you and Todd earlier was sold, and it was an SBA loan purchased by an attorney. The business was generating $320,000 a year. SBA funded that. The buyer only had to come up with about 10%, and the seller had to finance another 10%. It's a win-win combination.
Without getting into the particulars, what was the profit margin on a business doing $320,000 a year? I realize it would change from business to business, but what was this business doing?
This one was particularly in the home healthcare sector.
10-20%?
It was about $1.4 million a year with about $320,000 in cash flow. So that gives you about...
So the business was actually cash flowing $320,000, wasn't the total volume?
Yeah, $320,000 a year for the owner. That's what economic value.
So if I'm out there and I want to think about buying a business and I've never bought a business before, what kind of books should I read? What kind of CDs should I be listening to?
Where the most volume is the small business, privately held businesses that are out there going for sale. They will be gross sales of 10 million and less. That's the volume you'll find out there. Most of these businesses will have idiosyncrasy. So I tell a business buyer, first of all, read the book E-Myth by Michael Gerber. E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber, because these entrepreneurs started their own business, and that book is the premise of that book is these business owners are running the business not as business owners but as technical people that got into businesses.
Right.
So if you can identify the weakness of that business and the value proposition that you can add and enhance, you can glean that from that book, E-Myth.
What are the main concerns that people should have when they're buying or selling their business?
You mean the sellers?
The sellers and the buyers.
And the buyers.
What should be they thinking? What should they be thinking about?
What the seller should be thinking about, which is a common issue right now, is the paperwork. Buying a business is not like selling real estate. It all has to do with the financial performance of the business. Employees. Businesses have employees. What do they have in place? Do they have non-competes? Do they have all the necessary items to be successful, to be an ongoing business with 10 plus employees? So paperwork, I would say, record keeping is very important for a business. And then the relationships of the customers, which will constantly bring in the revenue, make sure that the customers are not tied to the owner, but tied to the business.
Great. Todd, you have any questions?
Well, what was the size of business you said about in the E-Myth or whatever that?
10 million in gross sales and less.
10 million or less.
Yeah, and less. Yeah.
And that isn't that the definition of a small business by the?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is by
10 million.
TSB, yeah.
So that shows you that type of person, certain type of people, typically grow it to that point or have trouble getting it past that point or
Right.
what have not.
Exactly. Yeah.
Got you. Well, that ends our first segment with Emmet Apolinario. We're going to take a break now. When we come back, we'll talk more with the business broker, Emmet Apolinario.
We'll be right back.